Hello, welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. So, I've got an update for you guys regarding that Russian general that was eliminated today in Moscow, assassinated by Ukraine. His name was Lieutenant General Igor Kirillov. And if you didn't see my early morning update regarding the Russian Ukraine war, I let you guys know he was assassinated in Moscow. And what happened was he was walking out of his home in Moscow. Soon after, there was an explosion from a scooter that was planted nearby the door. It was an electric scooter that had an IED inside of it. The IED was set off and it exploded and effectively eliminated Igor Kirillov and also his assistant. Okay, so now we have a response coming out from Dmitry Medvedev, which we talked a little bit about in this morning's video. And he's ordering retaliation over the killing of the Russian general. Okay, he said everything must be done to destroy those who ordered the murder of General Kirillov. And he said it's the military and political leadership of Ukraine. Okay, so he's ordering retaliation. He's also ordering the police to locate the assailants or the perpetrators who carried out this explosive act, killing the Russian general. Obviously, those people could still be inside of Moscow right now. Maybe they fled. Who knows where they went? But the police will be searching for them. And then on top of that, the fact that he's claiming that the military and political leadership of Ukraine has something to do with this, we could be potentially seeing some sort of retaliation event on Russia's government, maybe, or their military leadership. Who really knows? But there was some warnings just a few weeks back that Russia could potentially fire the Oreshnik medium-range ballistic missile targeting the parliament inside of Kiev. And we have been hearing recently that Russia could potentially fire one of these into Ukraine again. Even the Pentagon was warning about that not too long ago. So I want to show you guys the actual video footage of Dmitry Medvedev. He is Russia's Security Council Deputy Chairman. That is him at the end of the table there. I'll show you guys the video of him talking about this. But real quick, we're going to hop on over to an article. I want to show you guys the official report coming out from Ukrainska Pravda. It says Medvedev calls for retaliation after assassination of Russia's nuclear troops general. Okay, so we'll go over this real quick. This coming out today from December 17th, 2024. And it says here, Russia's Security Council Deputy Chairman Dmitry Medvedev has threatened Ukraine's leadership with retaliation following the assassination of Lieutenant General Igor Kirillov, the head of the Radiation, Chemical, and Biological Protection Troops of the Russian Armed Forces in Moscow. It says here, source is Kremlin-aligned Russian news agency RIA Novosti. And it says Medvedev, in his usual manner, claimed that the assassination of the top general was orchestrated by Banderites and referred to Kirillov's death as agony. Banderite is a colloquial term for members of supporters of the faction of the Organization of Ukrainian Nationalists led by Stepan Bandera, whom Russia claims to be targeting in Ukraine. He further threatened that Ukraine's top military political leadership would face inevitable retaliation. Okay, so looks like they will directly go after Ukraine's top military political leadership. Okay, so very big news. Looks like we will be seeing a response coming from Russia at some point soon. Now we're going to hop on over to X. I want to show you guys the actual video footage. It's about a minute long of Dmitry Medvedev speaking about this retaliation event that's coming. And then I also have a few other things that I want to update you guys on with this war as well. So let's go ahead and hop on over here to X. This is from DD Geopolitics. Everything must be done to destroy those who ordered the murder of General Kirillov. It's the military and political leadership of Ukraine, says Dmitry Medvedev. So we've got a minute and 13-second clip of him speaking here at this meeting of the National Security Council. So go ahead and take a look at what he has to say.
У нас сегодня с вами совещание, посвященное заключению госконтрактов в сфере оборонно-промышленного комплекса на следующий год. Но начнем не с этого. Сегодня в результате теракта погиб наш коллега и наш товарищ Игорь Анатольевич Кириллов. Он был военачальником, преданным и своему долгу, и присяге. Мы все здесь присутствующие за этим столом знали его и как очень хорошего профессионала, и как порядочного и ответственного человека. Всем понятно, что произошло, что случилось и что нужно делать. Несмотря на то, что расследование только началось, уже наши враги поспешили опубликовать информацию о своей причастности. Но в любом случае правоохранительные органы должны найти убийц в России, и нужно сделать все, чтобы уничтожить заказчиков, которые находятся в Киеве. Заказчики эти тоже известны, это военно-политическое руководство Украины.
All right, so there you go, directly from Dmitry Medvedev, claiming that they know exactly who it is the military and political leadership of Ukraine, and him also ordering that the police will locate the assailants who carried out this act of this bombing, taking out this Russian general. Okay, so big update coming out today regarding this, and something that I was thinking about too regarding this is imagine, many of these top political leaders inside of Russia right now, maybe even Dmitry Medvedev himself, I'm sure they got to be worried that Ukraine can strike directly inside of Moscow now. Okay, so we've seen assassinations down in Crimea. We also saw an assassination just recently in the Donetsk region. I think actually two of them just over the last month or so, if I'm not mistaken, but for sure at least one. And then now we have a major assassination of a Russian general in Moscow. So I'm sure top leaders of the Kremlin and Russia are worried about this now, as Ukraine can strike inside of Moscow with these assassinations. They've been very effective at doing this, okay? So something that I was thinking about that I wanted to know. So we're going to move on to some other updates now. I got a few other things that I want to get you guys caught up on, some information that's coming out from Russia and Ukraine. This is from Bandera Fella. Enemy forces expelled from Sumy region. No safe ground for occupiers. Every inch of Ukraine will be cleansed. Step by step, strike by strike, glory to Ukraine. Okay, so I wanted to give you guys an update on this situation. Now, I reported this, I want to say either yesterday or the day before, that there was potentially some sort of incursion into Ukraine. This blue right here is actually the Kursk offensive. Okay, this is where the Ukrainians are at. There was a town over here, I forget the name of it. I think it was called Alexandria or something like that. Apparently the Russians had crossed over the border behind the Ukrainians in the Kursk offensive in the Kursk region, right? There was a small border crossing for a short period of time for a couple days, and it wasn't completely confirmed by Ukraine. Ukraine's border service was claiming that this was not true, but multiple sources were claiming on X that there was Russians that did cross into this area. Bandera Fella being one of those that was claiming that. Looks like if that did happen, according to this information, Ukraine potentially expelled the Russians that did push in to this area. Okay, so I want to give you guys an update on that if you remember that information that I shared just the other day. We've also got a video here from Max24, and it says Anapa. Okay, so Anapa is a touristic town in the Krasnodar Krai region, very close to like Novorossiysk, which is a major port city down in the Black Sea and near the Kerch Strait also. Okay, so we know that down here, I've been reporting to you guys ever since over the weekend. We had two fuel tankers that were destroyed by harsh waves. They essentially split in half and leaked all of their fuel into the oceans, and it has been polluting the coastline, primarily here in Anapa. So I want to show you guys a new video just coming out from the evening. I gave you guys a video earlier and some pictures during the daytime, but look at how much worse it's gotten here if you saw that video from earlier. Take a look.
Санечек, добрый вечер. Вот, ты знаешь, это то, что было, сейчас уже совсем все страшнее гораздо. Уже нету, такого, что там кусками. Вон она, прет просто, уже сантиметров 30 слой лежит у нас, Это, короче, катастрофа, экологическое бедствие, Это просто экологическое бедствие. Не знаю, что будет,
All right, so we can see from this video, the entire beach is black now, covered in fuel oil that has spilled from these oil tankers, okay? So earlier, the video that I showed you guys, it was taking place during the daytime, and the beach had some oil, but it wasn't nearly as bad as this. Now we can see almost the entire beach covered in oil now. So very bad environmental disaster that is unfolding over here in the Black Sea due to these oil tankers. And I also reported to you guys this morning that a third one potentially sinking now as well. Okay, so almost a total of 3 of these oil tankers potentially sinking over here, and very bad environmental situation that is breaking out, okay? So I want to move on to another update now from Anton Gerashenko. Putin may have paid North Korea up to $6 billion for weapons and soldiers, according to the New York Times. Kim Jong-un has supplied 11,000 troops and vast stockpiles of weapons to Russia in its war against Ukraine. In return, North Korea gains billions of dollars worth of oil, food, cash, and advanced military technologies, helping the regime survive international sanctions and modernize its armed forces. North Korea sent 20,000 containers of weapons to Russia, including artillery shells, ballistic missiles, and rocket systems. These exports have revived North Korea's munitions industry and provided battlefield experience for its military. Analysts estimate North Korea earns up to $5.5 billion from arms deals and $572 million annually for deploying troops, critical funds for its isolated economy. So I'm sure North Korea is very happy right now with all this money they're making off of this war and supplying all these troops and equipment to Russia as they continue fighting inside of Ukraine. And if this happens to be true, quite a bit amount of money, okay, going to North Korea, okay, $6 billion dollars for weapons and soldiers that Putin may have paid North Korea. Now we've heard that that Russia has paid North Korea in like barrels of oil. We've heard also that they've given like food, I think like grain or rice or something like that, over to North Korea. Obviously, North Korea has a very big issue with food. Much of their population is starving. And then also we've heard that zoo animals were sent over to Kim Jong-un as well as kind of like a thank you gift. But aside from that, we haven't heard of actual funds being sent. Now, $6 billion is definitely a lot of money, and North Korea's economy will be able to use that quite a bit, and it will definitely help them out. So major cooperation right now happening between North Korea and Russia, as we've been reporting over the last few months. Okay, also from Max24, from today, mobile internet disconnections are possible to ensure the safety of Crimean residents, according to Russian Vonkers. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that name right. SIM cards of local operators are being found in Ukrainian drones, and now if a massive UAV attack is confirmed, the internet will be disconnected. Okay, so to protect the residents of Crimea, the authorities are thinking about cutting off internet from time to time, especially if a major UAV drone attack occurs, as SIM cards of local operators are being found inside of Ukrainian drones. Okay, so what they're trying to do is shut off the communications for the UAVs if they start incoming to Crimea. As recently, over the past few weeks, we've been seeing major drone attacks from the Ukrainians attacking the Crimean Peninsula. Okay, so that was some big news coming out today. Looks like some of the residents over there may be complaining about lack of internet. Okay, also Russian crisis from Jason J. Smart for the month. All sectors of Russia's stock market are in the red. Gazprom down 16.7%. Retailer Ozon down 23.7%. Search index Yandex down 12.3%. Largest construction company Samolit down 37.91%. Shipping company Sovcomflot down 19.7%. Russia's economy is melting down. Okay, so these are some of the numbers down over the last 30 days. Okay, over the last month. And Russia's stock market has been taking a major hit. We talked about that a little bit this morning, and I thought this information was interesting, showing some of these numbers of how much the Russia stock market has been down, anywhere from like 15 up to 35% on average for many of these companies. Okay, so very big losses right now that Russian companies are taking, and this is showing in the stock market. So I want to give you that update there. Okay, also from Igor Sushko, Russia, all ambulance drivers quit in Chabarkul, population 44,000 in Chelyabinsk region. They work 12-hour shifts on a monthly salary of 25,000 rubles or $239. In addition to driving, they had to maintain the broken down ambulances and carry patients. So it looks like we had a bunch of resignations of ambulance drivers quitting. Okay, so that's very bad, right? If ambulance drivers quit, then who's gonna answer the call if you have to request emergency services? Okay, so many of them quitting due to their salaries most likely not being enough. They're working long hours, and then just again think about what's happening inside of Ukraine. All this money being spent, for this war effort. Millions and millions of dollars or rubles, whatever you want to call it. And then at the same time, we have cities like this, like Chebarkul, with a population of 44,000 that can't even man ambulances due to low wages. Okay, so very big issue inside of Russia right now. A pretty good sized city that's going to have a lack of ambulance drivers. Okay, so moving on to another update from War Translated Dmitry. Poland is preparing a new aid package for Ukraine worth 100 million euros. Polish Prime Minister Tusk announced during his visit to Lviv. He also noted that Poland, together with its partners, is considering the possibility of providing Ukraine with additional equipment. Okay, this came out today as Donald Tusk, the Prime Minister of Poland, visited Lviv to meet with Volodymyr Zelensky. We can see them right here in the photo. And so he announced 100 million euros for Ukraine in new aid, and also considering the possibility of providing Ukraine with additional equipment in the future. We know that Poland has been a major or a staunch supporter for Ukraine, providing them lots of equipment and aid and money in general. Looks like more support coming from Poland just announced today. One last thing I want to show you guys is a big report coming out today as well from Noel Reports. The European Union is reconsidering the confiscation of Russia's frozen assets, worth approximately $300 billion, to transfer them to Ukraine, Bloomberg reports. Until now, the EU and G7 countries have used only the profits generated from these frozen assets, but a decision to fully confiscate and transfer the funds would represent a significant shift from the current approach. According to Bloomberg sources, some EU member states are assessing the potential impact of such a move on the euro as a currency, as well as the risk that third countries might withdraw their assets from states initiating confiscation. EU foreign ministers discussed the idea during a meeting in Brussels, and the topic may resurface at the EU leaders' summit scheduled for Thursday. Meanwhile, U.S. President Joe Biden continues to urge the EU to move forward with confiscation. EU diplomat Kaja Kallas emphasized that frozen assets must be directly confiscated. Okay, so we've been hearing about this over the last couple weeks, that the EU leaders could potentially send these confiscated assets upwards of about $300 billion sitting in banks and send this aid over to Ukraine directly. As you know, we know a large percentage of Ukraine has been wiped out due to this war. This would help them rebuild these areas that have been destroyed, and also, work on their infrastructure, as well as even their energy grid has just been completely battered and destroyed. We've even had Volodymyr Zelensky recently come out and call for this and say, just go ahead and send us these confiscated assets. Send it directly to us. We deserve it. We were obviously attacked. Our country has been destroyed. This is what Russia owes us, kind of what he has been saying. So it looks like the EU is working this direction to try to send these assets directly to Ukraine versus just using the interest that's been generated off them sitting in banks. So some big updates coming out today. Looks like we might be hearing a major move on this very soon to send these directly over to Ukraine, this $300 billion. So just wanted to give you guys a few updates while we talked about this Russian general some more, and it looks like Russia is going to try to retaliate in some sort of way, maybe on the military and political leadership of Ukraine. So we'll see what happens here in the coming days, but get ready for a major retaliation from Russia. Looks like it's coming soon from Dmitry Medvedev today, as he announced that. Okay, so let me know what you think down below. That's going to be it for today's update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. With that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.